what you're thinking. The last video was very rushed. I understand that. Reason being, I am incredibly busy. I'm a university student. I do a lot of work for clients and most importantly, sleep. However, I love doing this in my free time. It's one of my favorite things to do. In fact, it pretty much is my free time. If you hear any knocking on the side there, I think they're cleaning the windows. I'm not sure. Sounds like it. Or someone's just being an idiot. But I'm not going to keep you too long because I want to get straight to reviewing the 5D Mark IV. Now, I was going to upload a vlog of me buying it. How did I get it? I got it for £1,500, not secondhand, brand new. Reason why I traded in my 6D Mark II. Got a few discounts because it was a special event. I might release the video maybe after or before, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm incredibly busy right now. If I'm going to do this properly, I'm going to set this up in sections. One being photography, one being film, and one being just the my overall faults on the camera, how it's built, what I like and what I dislike. Okay. Let's get into photography first. Photography is less controversial with this camera. It is a brilliant photography camera. There's nothing much to say. It's a 30 megapixel camera, 14 stops, well, up to 15 stops of dynamic range. It'll do 7 frames, which I believe my GH5 can do 12 frames and the 1DX Mark II can do 14 frames, I believe. I'm just gonna say it does 14 frames and you're gonna believe me. But the 5D Mark IV does not do that many frames, and it's kind of lacking because I like to do sports photography with cameras. It's better than the 6D Mark II, which did only 4 frames, but this bad boy does do 7 frames, which is really good enough. Especially if you're at high shutter speed, you'll be fine, really. When it comes to photo quality, to be honest, like, I don't say megapixels is a really big deal. It really isn't. As long as I think if you're over 14 to 16 megapixels, you can't really tell after that. But it's kind of not true. I see a big difference from my 6D Mark II photos and my 5D Mark IV. Not too much, not that people who aren't into photography would notice, but someone who likes to really edit the shit out of photos. There's a difference. There's a major difference. One of the most important things as well is the low light. I did some night photography, not too much, and the reason being is at that time my card wasn't fast enough. This is no joke. This is not I'm gonna go and get this to vlog and I'm gonna get this to do videos and stuff like that. It's on a professional level. And so when you're on professional level, obviously you gotta upgrade not only the camera but the equipment. The lenses, well, I already had good lenses, so it was perfectly fine. But you have to get faster cards. I don't think there's an SD card on the market that will allow you to film in 4K on that, but I'll get that into a second. Photography wise, it takes a while if you're using a slow SD card to process the photo. So it would be like take a photo and I have to wait 3 seconds to actually see it. Not too much of a problem, it was just meh. But the photos had come out quite nice. Nothing too much was going on. I'm not an expert on night photography. It's something I'm very scared to do, but I was like, it's got good dynamic range, so it should be fine. It does have very good dynamic range, if I may say so myself. The photos are pretty beautiful, I'm not going to lie. And the dynamic range does follow on into film. When it comes to colors, it's a Canon. The colors will always look brilliant. What happens when like for example, I used to take photos on the GH5, which is what I'm filming with right now, and the photos just were never, the colors were too crisp. I don't know. I can't explain it, but you look into the actual photo, you zoom in, and there'll be a lot of artifacts, and I wasn't a fan of it. It actually kind of made me like, ugh. I did a job. I was taking photos for a hotel, The photos turned out fine, probably because I had to Photoshop a lot of them, but it was just, I cropped into those photos and I don't know, and I was using a MacBook screen to look at them, and the MacBook screens normally are like the best to look at when it comes to photos, but no, it was just disgusting. However, the Canon 60 Mark II, I did find that, I mean, if you're not at a high shutter speed, obviously you're gonna get some sort of trail, light trail. If you look at an object and you zoom in right on the corner of an object, you'll see a bunch of purples and greens. With this, you can lower the shutter speed and it'll do fine. One thing I must say about this camera is and you know what I'm gonna say, I'm going to say ISO. The ISO on this camera is a beast. I took photos at 3600, 6400, 12,400, and obviously there will be artifacts, there will be pixelation, photo might be a bit meh, and there is a noticeable difference. But really, you can film and shoot photos at 6400 and you will not notice too much, even on film as well, and I'll get to that. To conclude photography, it's everything you'll ever need. It's a 30 megapixel camera. It does more megapixels than a 1DX Mark II. I don't know which one would be better in photography because, to be fair, I have never used a 1DX Mark II. I would like to. Maybe I'll buy one in the near future, maybe not, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's when you look at statistics, the 5D Mark IV is definitely on par or even better than the 1DX Mark II. But I'm not going to get into that discussion. I have no right to say that because I do not know myself anything about the 1DX Mark II. Well, I do know a bit, but I've never used it. I've never seen it with my own eyes, the actual raw footage. Speaking of footage, let's go on to the 5D Mark IV film. Now, this is a very controversial topic because many people dislike the 4K from the 5D Mark IV. I will not deny people of their opinions, obviously. People say the footage doesn't look great, it's just not easy to play with, and if you're wondering who said that, I can't recall who specifically said that. Comments I have read on forums, comment sections on YouTube, people, I think I watched one or two videos who were really taking the piss out of the 5D Mark IV. Perfectly fine. It's not a flawless camera, it does have its issues, which I'll get into in a bit. Firstly, the codec is nothing special. I mean, it's if I'm completely honest with you, it's easier to edit than GH5 footage by far. As soon as when I put GH5 footage into Premiere, it can be a bit buggy when editing it. It could be a little like it'll freeze, you know, it lags, you know, and especially if you're using the HLG mode, oh, you're not going to be able to edit quickly on that. That is one heavy ass file, but does have amazing footage as compared to the 5D Mark IV. Well, I'm not going to go into that now. I will do a video in the near future comparing side by side the footage of them both at 4K. Back to my point, the 5D Mark IV is not a big massive codec. It's not. I put it on Premiere on my weak computer, on my computer that I don't normally edit on, and the 4K footage runs on full render from the preview. It runs smooth, like there's no lag. If I want to play back, boom, plays back perfectly fine, and that's on my weak computer. When I go on my laptop, which is my actual powerful editing beast, but that's what I call it. There's no lag, there's no interference, there's no nothing. It works perfectly. Actually, when I put GH5 footage into it, then it starts getting laggy. Well, yeah. But yeah, no, it works perfectly fine for me. How does it look? Gotta be honest with you, it looks exactly like my 16 Mark II, not gonna lie. 1080 footage on that looks so good, it's basically the same as this on 4K. Now, I'm not saying that the 4K is like 1080 footage, you gotta remember the 16 Mark II footage is phenomenal. I would say this is definitely better. At the end of the day, it doesn't allow you to customize bit rates, it doesn't actually tell you what bit rate is. I know I said I did my research, but I don't know how many megabits per second of footage is. Apparently it's 500 megabits per second, which is brilliant. That's fine with me. It does full HD 60, which is fine. I guess. I'm surprised they didn't do 120 frames for 1080. They could have really done that. And one thing, 4K 60, I know it's not there yet, GH5 has it, but really it's not great. It's not great 4K. It's like iPhone 4K really on that small sensor. Right now I'm shooting in Cinema 4K, which is a 4096, but you will not be able to use these type of SD cards. I know this one's only 32 gigs. I'm using my actual proper SD card that I normally use for professional footage in the GH5 right now. But if you're gonna want to film with this beast, you are gonna need one of these. This is a compact flash card, but it's just the type of card that it is. It allows for more memory to, I don't know, it's got the little holes in it. Not gonna lie, it works. This will not work for 4K footage. The footage will last 10 seconds, boom, it'll cut out. This, it'll do continuous filming. I don't know how, I think it's 30 minutes. That's as long as it goes, I think, probably. That's, you know, that's Canon. They've always done that. Yes, it does have a dual slot. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, but it's the 2 slots. Thank God, because, you know, the 60 Mark II did not have any of that. That was one card, you know, that's what you're allowed. And I said it wasn't too much of a problem if you got a big SD card. This, don't get misinformed by this, because this is not for a dual SD. This is not for more memory. Remember that. This is so you can back up your footage. So yes, it is more memory, but you will not be able to like film with the one C card and then switch to filming with the SD card. No. You want to film, you've got 64 gigs. I think you can transfer it so the footage will film onto this and then you can transfer it into the other SD card. If we're talking overall color for film, brilliant. I have not got this C-Log yet. Why? Because apparently you have to send in your camera to get the C-Log done, where they unlock the camera and do the C-Log update, and it's just like, why can't you just put it on a SD card? That's what Panasonic did. That's what Sony did. Footage, easy to edit, looks great, has a very nice look to it when it comes to color. Color grading it is brilliant generally. Yes, it doesn't do 60 frames at 4K. It only does 24, 25 frames, but the footage looks great. One of the things I want to test out, because I have a gimbal, see if this actually runs on a gimbal. Because one thing I hate about this camera is, because I got shaky hands. I'm always like trying to, even with my phone, which is light, I'm like, it's not that bad. And with this, there's no stabilization. Some of the lenses do have stabilization, but they're really heavy. And I've got my L series lens, which has stabilization, but it's not enough. I got shaky hands. Warp stabilizer, hate using it because it makes the footage look really shit basically. If I put a light enough lens, maybe my 50mm, it will probably go onto a gimbal. Hopefully, I'm gonna test it out. Let's go on to just the features of the camera, like what I think. Well, firstly, this is completely like water sealed. This is, you can do this in the rain. But you gotta remember, this camera is, most people use this type of camera for like studio work, portraits, modeling and all that. But this can be used for nature, for wildlife photography. This will do the job. It can go in basically any sort of weather conditions. Also, we gotta talk about big no-no, which this is why I'm not filming myself right now with the 5D Mark IV. I really wanted to, but I can't because there's no flip out screen, which means I don't know if I'm in focus or not. I know you can get the app on your phone. I just tried that. I don't know. What's weird is it crops, and I'm gonna get to this, and I said this in my last video about the 16 Mark II. It's the same thing. Why Canon do crop so much when you go into film? But this is not just any sort of crop. This isn't like cropping the top bit out. Like, I'll get that because you got to have an aspect ratio. This thing like literally zooms in by like 2 times zoom. To be fair, there's nothing much else to say about the camera. It's just brilliant. I got it for a really good price. I think they're going at just over, I mean, £2,800, maybe 3,000, around that area, which is way too expensive for me. But the fact that I was able to get this for 1,500 is brilliant. Actually, 1,200 because I was given a Canon discount sheet, which gives me like 20% off or something like that. I don't like the spinny thing. That's the one thing I don't like. One thing I also don't like is how you can't change ISO. Well, one thing with the 60 Mark II, you go with ISO option and you can spin the wheel and it would, you know, change the ISO. You can't do that for some reason on this. Maybe in the firmware update they might have it. I haven't updated this yet. The touchscreen works fine generally. I don't know if I like all the buttons on this side. I prefer on this side, but to be honest, it looks a bit more artsy and professional, I guess. Besides that, the IV looks great. Everything else about it is awesome. I like the material on it. It's more rough. It's like, ooh, it's definitely heavier than the 60 Mark II. Massively heavier. Like, this thing is a tank. Ah, man, this is why I don't vlog. I'm not going to be vlogging with this, I don't think. It's just too heavy. I'll do professional films with it, but I don't think I'll do vlogs with it. Alright, that's the end of my review. I hope you enjoyed. It was a bit more professional and planned than my last video. I understand people who got upset with my last video because they were like, some people were saying to me, coming up to me and be like, oh, that was completely improvised, completely like off the road, like off the script. There was no script. I was just kind of bored, wanted to make something, and I didn't really have a lot of time, so I decided to do it. Okay, so yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Next week, yes, there is a coming soon. Next week, there's two possibilities. One, I will be reviewing a C100 Mark II or Mark I, one of them, or I will be reviewing a Sony A7R III, which is very scary for me because I'm a Panasonic user, so it's kind of like, oh my god, I'm going into the dark world. This is like, but my friend let me use it, and he was like, if you want to do a review for it, that's great. So if you like the video, like it. If you like me, subscribe. And if you want to give me money, no, I'm joking, don't give me money. Seriously, I hope you enjoyed. This is something I generally like doing. I don't really do it for loads of fans. I don't really do it just to be famous or to let out my ego. This is genuinely me being happy and enjoying myself, because it's just fun editing it, it's fun filming it, it's fun talking about these things and being passionate about these things and having a platform to express myself. So do what you gotta do. Hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.